Good morning. Happy Sunday. My name is Dustin. Thank you all for being here. Truly means the world to me. How do we help the most people that we can? How do we do it? I had this idea to talk about this today because in one of my videos, a short that I made, who knows how long ago, about Progresso having a tomato soup at the grocery store that's like 10 net carbs or something like that, and for the whole can, relatively low carb for tomato soup. I think the Campbell's brand is like 40 or 50 grams of carbs per serving, not even for the can. And the person was basically like, this isn't healthy. It's got seed oils in it. And I'm like, you know what? It has some sunflower seed oil in it. Is it the cleanest? No. But at the same time, how do we help the most people that we can? Do we help the most people that we can by being nitpicky and just so oddly strict that nobody cares anymore? Because I know in the very beginning when I was showing my journey, obviously I never stopped showing my journey, but in the beginning I would have people come to me and they would say, you're doing such amazing things. How are you, what are you doing? So I would go in depth and tell them every single thing that I was doing, every teeny tiny little detail. And without fail, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I can't do that. So over time, what I started doing was just, being like, you know what I do? I primarily focus on meat, eggs, a little bit of cheese here and there, some vegetables sometimes if I want them, healthy fats, butter, try to avoid seed oils where possible. It's one of those, that's one of those very, very difficult things to do. We can't always avoid everything. It's basically impossible. Now, there are people who do, but the average person living a standard American diet right now isn't going to care. And how do we help them best? By at least getting them on a path, at least getting them on a path to self improvement, whether that's just lowering carbs, maybe just low carb, not keto, not carnivore. Some people may gravitate towards carnivore. Some people are going to gravitate towards keto. I highly doubt that most people are going to be so concerned with the minutia of this lifestyle that they're going to be in depth as much as we are. Chances are they're never going to find our videos. They're never going to join our lives. They may start doing something because someone in their family's doing it. Really, I think that's the only way we can spread this message is do what we do. Hopefully, someone from their family will pick up on it, start doing it, lead by example. But I don't think us being so nitpicky, like, in the carnivore community, we're like, well, you're having pepper, you're not a real carnivore. That doesn't help anyone. It doesn't help anyone. Sure, that one person, that point whatever percent of people who pepper impacts and causes them whatever inflammation, bloating, whatever the case is, right? Someone like, a Michaela Peterson, where she couldn't have pepper because it would just cause excruciating joint pain or whatever the case is. That's such a small margin of people out there that I think just getting them to do better is going to be a huge, huge thing for all of them, all of us, society as a whole. What do you think? Let's go ahead and see who's here. Rick is here already, talking about quack, quack, quack from the duck pond. Evelyn is here. Good morning, dear. I'm so glad to see your bright and shiny face. Sherry Lynn is here. Good morning. Getting coffee now. I haven't even had my first sip of this coffee yet. Let's go ahead and take care of that now. So I have started liking this. I talked about it a live or two ago. Um, this blonde espresso powder. I really liked it. I bought 2 containers of it so far. I'm getting close to the end of the second container, and I went to pick up another bottle from Walmart, and they don't have it. So I went online, and it was like $6 for a container of espresso powder, blonde espresso powder. It's really good. I like adding it to my coffee. I mean, my coffee's espresso nonetheless, but I just to get an extra kick. And it's like $20 right now on Walmart.com, which means it's like a third party seller, not selling it by Walmart. So it means it must be extremely popular and they weren't sure of the demand. So hopefully, hopefully it comes back because Walmart is one of those places that if something is extremely popular and they can't keep it on the shelf, they'll just discontinue it sometimes, which is weird. Uh, Matt Franklin bringing the Disney magic. Good morning, sir. Got my coffee and I'm ready to go. And I'm ready to go. Evelyn says her coffee is brewing and saying hello to people. Mr. Jeff Foltz is in the house. Good morning. He'll be walking the grand puppy and listening. Fantabulous. Let's see. Good morning, Andy. Andy says, good morning, guys. Our walk. They're walking and listening. All right. I'm glad you guys are here with me. Good morning, Dustin. By starting a YouTube channel, it reaches higher numbers. Yeah, yeah. So I mean, doing this and sharing this is a definite way to spread the message, but it's only going to go so far. I would say. I think this niche of health and improvement is something that is still it's still very niche down. There's my big head. All right, there we go. It's still a very niche thing. We're not going to be Mr. Beast. We're not going to be, millions of views. I don't think. I mean, if ever I'm getting millions of views, something has gone very awry with the world, I would imagine. Not everybody wants to see or hear me talk, but you know, that's why we do what we do. Hopefully being able to reach that one person that impacts 2 people, that impacts 4 people, that starts a ripple effect that changes things for the better because we're hurting on so many levels. Mr. Gugahan is here. Good morning, John. Uncle Big Guy is here. Rick says, and 17 years on YouTube, I have yet to meet another YouTuber in person. I don't know how many I've met now. I've met a lot. But I've met some like YouTubers in person who have 100,000 subscribers. Most of them are in my size range, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 subscribers, a couple hundred subscribers. It takes us all. We all have to be doing our work. And that's what I responded to this person. I was like, how do we help the most people? We don't help the most people by pointing our finger and saying, that's bad for you. That's unhealthy. They already doing unhealthy. They've got unhealthy on lock. If they're switching from Campbell's tomato soup, which is ridiculously high in carbs, to the Progresso tomato soup, that's leaps and bounds in the right direction. Seed oils be damned. Now, I think for us individually, we should be digging and diving and finding out what is optimal for each of us individually. But if we're talking to the masses, we're talking to the people that need us the most, we need to approach it with grace. Because most people are so on a fragile that they're going to try it, but they're not going to go head over heels into it. You want them to go for the long term. So you want to find something that's going to be sustainable. And I kind of find if you kind of go down that sustainable path, you are going to work on yourself a lot better than if you never started at all, right? So that's what I'm trying to say. And that's just like, I want to help as many people as I can, right? I don't know. I'm in both. I don't know. Whatever's going on. United Carnivore, good morning from Tampa Bay, the home of Cannibal Corpse. Woo! Let's see. Brian Doyle, good morning, Mr. Doyle. Let's see. Andy says we use the trinity of garlic, salt, pepper, and all the meats we cook. Didn't know pepper was inflammatory. I'm just saying, I'm not trying to be. I'm just saying, like in the carnivore community, people are like, "How dare you use pepper? You're not a real carnivore." You know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, like everything. There's something wrong with something. You're never keto enough. You're never carnivore enough. You're never anything enough. And it's human nature. It is human nature. You're never enough for the community that you're in. There's always somebody that's going to say, you know what, you shouldn't have, like you're utilizing, iodized sea salt. You should be using Redmond's. Well, should you? Yes. Can everybody afford it? No. We have to come at this with grace. We have to come at this with an understanding that not everybody is going to care. Getting most people to do the bare minimum is all we can ask for. Lowering carbs from hundreds and hundreds a day to maybe 50 a day is leaps and bounds in the right direction. And hopefully, maybe they'll start to feel better and they'll start to understand, well, if I cut back a little bit more, or if I do this and eat a little bit more meat, I mean, just getting people to eat meat right now is basically, you know, huge because I'm looking at maybe doing a video on like how meat has been demonized over the last 100 years, give or take. It's very fascinating, to be honest with you, but I don't know if it's a video that I want to tackle. But Christy is here. Good morning. Good morning. Let's see. That's why my YouTube channel is travel and lifestyle, include low carb. Yeah. Sherry Reagan is here. Good morning from Storby, Leavenworth, Kansas. Just switched to this live from your interview with Caitlin. It was a very informative and enjoyable interview. Yeah, there was a lot of things that I didn't expect with that interview yesterday. Like I said in the interview yesterday, I was basically saying that I follow her on like TikTok and Instagram, and there's a lot of things that I hadn't even seen of her content, and kind of getting a chance to dive in and really kind of get to know her opened up a lot of things for me that I didn't even know existed and I wasn't ready for. And yeah, carnivore in Florida, eating all. You could single-handedly eat all of the invasive species, Rick. I don't know how much you like the snake problem that's going on down there, but I'm sure you could eat a lot of them. If I put sauerkraut on my heart attack burger, does it mean I'm no longer carnivore? That's the thing. That's the thing. It's like I don't think there was ever any pure, true carnivores in the world unless it was just what they had. Nobody chose to just eat meat. And that might be controversial, but I mean, I think every people across the expanse of our history, human history, has eaten plants, they've eaten berries, they've eaten fruit to survive. And I'd have thought, what if, we talk about the impacts of glucose and fructose and such on our and being, the ability to just mindlessly overeat these things like fruits and candies, anything that's made with fructose. But think about in the wild, think about the seasons that berries in the wild and our ancestors would come across, and they would eat these berries full of fructose, and it would probably disrupt some of their satiety signals so that they would eat an abundance of these berries as much as they could find to pack on some extra weight so that the oncoming winter wouldn't eradicate them. So I imagine that there is I imagine that with glucose and fructose and all these things, there's probably by design, a satiety pathway disruptor. Because in nature, if you wanted to survive, you would have to eat tons of berries in the in the fall coming for winter. If you didn't have any meat or whatever, and you were just surviving on your own body fat. I was thinking about that the other day, and I don't know if I've heard anybody talk about that. I imagine that there are talks and lectures aplenty about it. I just haven't run across it. But that was just one of the things that I was thinking about. So, you know, Charlie's in the house. I'm glad to see you, Charlie. And let's see, United Carnivore is asking if Rick is in Florida. He's in Miami. Just think Tampa to Miami, the Bright Line is going to be there to connect you two. You guys can meet up in like Orlando or somewhere in the middle, have a big steak dinner, or, and enjoy a nice iguana tail, whatever Rick wants to do. And, you know, yeah. That was a haunting interview yesterday. I mean, that was just something like the complete dark side of the internet. If you haven't listened to I don't want to go into it in this because I want to keep this a little more lighthearted. But if you want to listen to that interview with Caitlin yesterday, please do so. It's getting quite a lot of views. It's last time I looked, it had like 300 and almost coming up, maybe 400 views. I don't know. I can take a look here real quick and see where it's at. But yeah, I mean, it was just yeah, it's 399 views right now. We'll reset that and see if it goes up. Yeah, 400 views that Caitlin's thing has. That's amazing. Most of my lives with guests top out at like 100. Sometimes people like James will draw like 300 to 400 people, but speaking of iguanas, Rick is talking about. I wonder how far the iguanas have gone here in Florida. But what about the pythons? Can you eat pythons, Rick? Sarah's channel is Matt's talking about Sarah's channel. Her channel is a lifestyle within a keto space, slowly growing and reaching more people, just getting the info out. And that's all we can do. That's all we really can hope for. Andy says, I'm so happy she knows about it. Community notes so she can get some support and self-confidence, prove those haters. But that's the thing, like she was telling me off air that she still gets money. People send money to her apps on the phone and stuff and send her like the Cash App and stuff and tell her what to spend it on and stuff. And I'm like, that's just so devastating that I mean that it's a thing. That's just so eye-opening. Yeah, go visit it a little bit and go listen to that. And yeah. Evelyn says she got to visit with a few keto peeps yesterday. Stacy and Ken, Lisa and James. Stacy made a feast of foods. We did not leave. I imagine you didn't leave hungry. My nose is itchy today, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, let's see. Sean is here. Good morning, Sean. Happy Sunday morning. Let's see. Rick says one thing I no longer see today was that comment was the ice cream truck. Remember that turkey and the straw meat. We still see the ice cream truck here deep in the summertime, so we'll see it or we'll hear it during the day here every once in a while. But yeah, it wasn't like when I was a kid. It was more. There was a lot more of the ice cream truck, and we also had a candy truck that would drive by because I grew up in a special area. There'd be like, and I think they sell more than candy, but we were kids and all we saw was the candy. But I'm pretty sure that candy truck sold more than candy. More, it was like a soda. It was like it sold sodas and chips and candy and stuff, candy bars and chip like bags of potato chips and whatnot. And I imagine they sold more than just that. But, you know, I'm going viral. I think it takes more than 400 views to go viral. Oh, but one day, maybe I will one day. I think her story deserves to go viral for sure. That's why I'm glad that some of her content's got like 12 million views. Unfortunately, it may be for the wrong reasons, but yeah. Carl says a guy I work with cut out sugary drinks a year ago. 6 months ago, he cut out grains, bread, sugar, started doing 100 push-ups a day. He's down 100 pounds. Tiny changes slowly. Did I influence? Don't know. Maybe. That's the thing, is just being a constant. Someone in your life sees you doing something consistently, they're more apt to kind of follow suit. If you're somebody who's doing something erratic and you're doing something different every day, you're doing, like on Tuesday, you're doing the grapefruit diet, and on Wednesday, you're vegan, and on Thursday, you're carnivore, and people are going to not take you so seriously. But when you kind of set your mind to something and you get into it, and like for, Shandra and I, we've been doing this for 8 years. We've had our off days, our off weeks, but we've been consistent for all this time. People notice. Pythons are edible, as are rattlesnakes and water moccasins. Eat them up. Mm-mm. I bet. I bet. I wonder. Yeah, I bet they're delicious. Maybe. I don't know. I've barely had alligator tail. You go out, you get like alligator jerky, but it's mixed with beef or whatever. It's mainly beef for whatever reason. It's cheaper, I guess. I don't know. Matt said, Carl, I would say you were more than likely an influence. People see our changes and how we made them, and then they make changes to improve themselves. Yeah, you never discount, because there's so many people who are seeing what you do, who are taking notice of what you do and implementing small changes, and they may never, ever tell you that you're the reason why they do it. Let that sink in for a little bit. Someone may watch what you're doing, never, ever even mention it to you directly. I had this. Now, obviously, it's a never. They did mention it to me eventually, but they did it for a while. And then one day they were just like, you know what? I want to tell you that I've been doing I've been following you and seeing what you do, and I've implemented a lot of things that you do in my lifestyle, and I've done all these great things. It's amazing. Thank you for for being you and all that. And I'm like, there's not a bigger compliment out there than that. And I think that's a huge part of why I do what I do. Just, obviously because hanging out with all of you is amazing and a lot of fun, and we have a good time. And it's something to fill my time with, because I need human interaction. I don't want to sit at the house all the time and only deal with like cashiers at Costco or whatever. But, you know, let's see. Carl says wild carnivores in the exhibit the zoo pharmacological behaviors in their current diet does not provide needed nutrition. Their body prompts them to seek out certain fruits and veg, still carnivores. Yeah, I mean, I think that we are, like the idea that humans are omnivores is probably more true than strict just eating beef carnivore, because we don't live in a vacuum. We had to evolve eating what the land provided. Now, does that mean we mostly ate meat and we preferred meat? Probably. I mean, the joke is you never see a cave painting of them hunting salad, or, I mean, I think you may probably see some later on where they're growing crops, but I think maybe by the time they were growing crops, they weren't doing cave paintings anymore. But just utilizing what's available, I think, is a human trait, whether it's fruits, vegetables. I mean, the people would chew the sap off of trees like chewing gum. So, you know, John Gugahan says, growing up, we had the trucks. I think they were called Country Time. You would walk onto them and shop. Had candy, snacks, some staples like milk, eggs, bread. I didn't ever saw those. Charlie says, my daughter definitely observes that I do every day, diet and otherwise. How does she respond? Do you guys have conversations about this? Is she inquisitive? Does she have, I mean, I know she's young and she's probably more likely to kind of do what all her friends are doing, but just curious, how does she react and what kind of conversations do you guys have? If you don't mind sharing. Sean says, I would love to see one of my friends or family members in one of the lives. To me, that would mean I finally got through to them and they're watching the info they need to watch. I imagine that people kind of come in and watch for a little while and drop off because right now it tells me that there's like 43, 45 people watching across the three platforms that I'm streaming to. Because I'm streaming here to YouTube, I'm streaming to Facebook as well as to Twitter. I don't get a lot of interaction from Twitter. Sometimes I'll get interaction from you or from Facebook, but mostly the interactions are from YouTube. But yeah, but we are repeatedly what we think and do in the game of life is self development. Yeah. Uncle Big Guy says, unless you have major issues, making small changes is what will work for most. Plus, it gives new ideas time to develop in their own minds to change. Yeah, what they didn't know, what they won't do now. Yeah, I mean, I mean, like I said, I had done this for a long time, and it wasn't until like I kind of had that epiphany about, like the brain fog being gone, my knees didn't hurt anymore. It wasn't really the weight loss that kept me. I was doing it, I was determined, and I was posting on Instagram trying to keep myself accountable. But really, it was the non-scale things that truly cemented this lifestyle for me. Yeah, Christy's sons are watching and they're taking note. They really are. Yeah, all living things in the wild would have been fair game for survival. Yeah, anything. You run across a berry bush, you're gonna devour those berries. You're gonna be like, wow, we won't see this again till next year or whatever the case is. You just eat what you had to. And I think that's like I was talking about the satiety signals. I think that's what something like fructose is probably a satiety pathway disruptor. So you're more likely to overeat those to help put bulk on so you could survive the winter. And I'm speaking like I know something, but I mean, that's just kind of my theory. And I imagine if I'm wrong, someone eventually will let me know. They typically do. I'm sitting at the beach trying to capture a motorboat with a water skier on video. That sounds lovely. Yes, please depress the like button for me, please. I would appreciate it greatly on whatever format you're watching this. Andy says stress can also inhibit and produce another way of eating. The beach is my stress relief. Yeah, and we all run into that on a normal basis. Something stresses us out, and we all have our kind of go to stress responses. Whether it's kind of reverting back to being a homebody or whatever, going to McDonald's, whatever it is, we all have kind of our stress triggers and all that stuff. I would imagine this is correct, Rick. Humans have more in common with bears than lions. Yeah, because lions don't eat. I mean, I don't know. Have you ever seen lion eat grass? I mean, I don't know. Um, but bears will eat other bears. Bears will eat berries. Bears will eat trash. Humans will eat trash. So, Charlie says, my 9-year-old daughter will usually ask me if different things are allowed on the carnivore diet. She'll also periodically ask me why I eat the way I do. Good but short conversations. What? At least she's inquisitive. She's seeing what you're doing, and it is something that's making an impact, an impression on her. Whether or not she's actually kind of going for it now or not, it's still good to see that she's doing that and asking those questions. Matt says, for me, the weight loss is the added benefit to keto. The removal of depression and anxiety have been the key factors to staying keto. Yeah. I mean, we all have the things that were truly bothering us, whether we were aware of it or not. For me, the brain fog, the allergies, the heartburn, the relentless heartburn. Oh, it was bad. It was so bad. If I forgot to take my Prilosec or whatever, it was bad. That's why I kept a bottle in my car. I kept a bottle at work, bottles at home. I kept a bottle upstairs, bottle downstairs. It was bottles. It was anywhere where I need to, just in case I forgot to take it. And I probably took it more times than sometimes because I would be afraid I forgot to take it and probably take it again. So, oh man, coffee is so good. Rick says, believe it or not, I've never experienced heartburn. I started experiencing it as a kid. It started, my mom would make tomato soup, and we'd have tomato soup and crackers for dinner. We'd crush up our crackers in the tomato soup and mix it up, and we get all soggy. It was just something about saltines and tomato soup that just was a flavor that I loved. Even though afterwards I would have that heartburn, it would just kind of gurgle up and yeah. So I imagine that it stems from a long life of eating like eating not the best foods. But so I remember I was probably like 19 years old. I had a thing where I could barely eat. Like I couldn't, it would hurt to swallow. And I went to the doctor, like, oh, you just got acid reflux. Put me on a medication and it went away. And it was so, oh man, it was great for the longest time. Even after like the medication ran out and I didn't get any more refills, it stayed away for a long time. And then into my mid 20s, I say a long time, maybe a couple of years, maybe 2, 3 years or something like that. And then the mid 20s, all the way through starting keto, it was just whether it was Tums or Zantac, anything over the counter. I was trying everything. And finally, I found Prilosec. And the weird thing is Prilosec comes in two forms. It comes in like a gel cap, kind of like a capsule, and it comes in like a pill, like a hard brown pill. For whatever reason, the brown pill didn't work for me, but the capsule did. So I would buy the capsules. The only place that sold those was Walmart, I think. Maybe Meyer. But like at Costco, they would have the big bulk boxes, but they only sold the pill. So that's just weird things you would find that would work or wouldn't work. Crackers are duck food. Tomatoes are horrible unless cooked with fatty meat. Yeah. Um, United Carnivore says, do you have any thoughts about coffee and carb content? I love coffee also, by the way. There's carbs in coffee. It's a bean. I don't really think about it because I usually have just this. I usually the 1 cup a day, unless it's a long, long day and I have a second, but that's very rare. I don't really worry about it. I mean, there's probably more carbs from my creamer than there is in the coffee, and I'm drinking espresso, so this is probably 10 carbs for the whole coffee. But it's a meal. I mean, people like, how could you that it's a meal like that, and I've had people argue that it's not a meal. To me, it's a meal. I will have this coffee, and I may not eat again until who knows when I think about it. Sometimes on Sundays, I'm more apt to eat in the middle of the afternoon than later, just because I'm kind of hanging around watching movies or something, or getting prepared for the week. As I do a live stream on Tuesdays, most Tuesdays, where we talk about a movie, and I have to go and rewatch the movie to kind of brush myself up on it. I think we're going to be doing some westerns. I'm not sure what the first one's going to be. But I'm sure I probably haven't seen it, so I'll probably have to go watch it. I don't know what it'll be, whether it's a Clint Eastwood Western or whatever, but yeah. So Sundays, I'm usually hanging around the house doing this with you guys. I've got a video to edit I want to put out tomorrow that I filmed last week. It is a response video to Chris Cook in Nashville, and his wife Ash put out a video last week about cheat or treat meals, and I just kind of wanted to share my 2 cents. I had thoughts about it, and I even commented in the video. I could put a really long response here, or I could put a video out. So I'm going to put a video out. So, Andy says, my first time with heartburn was my third pregnancy. I was 31. Yeah, it's awful. It just gets you and, like, it doesn't go away. Even now, like, if I eat too late, I'll get some indigestion and stuff, so I keep Tums. I try to find the most sugar-free Tums I can find, but, it's just usually if I eat too late, then it just gets me in the middle of the night. Charlie says, "Walking my dog yesterday with my daughter, who got tired midway through. I gave my daughter a piggyback ride the length of the street, an 80-pound rucksack, did it without issue. She enjoyed it." Well, that's amazing, Charlie. You're doing awesome things. You've come so far. It's just amazing to watch. Brian says, "You know what, Dustin? I'm trying to think of why I'm still doing this. 2 years and no results until you mentioned the heartburn. Not having to take protonics alone is worth it." That's the thing. There's always something in what we're doing that keeps us going. Mm. And sometimes you just got to take a little mm, sip of coffee. Mm. Charlie says, "My comment on Chris Cook and Nashville's cheat meal video: if brisket isn't served at my funeral, I'm not going." Yeah. I've been watching these videos and I can't remember the girl's name, but they're a carnivore family, like a guy and a wife and husband. And she goes to Costco and she buys these like 70-pound rolls of meat. Um, I can't think. I can't remember what it's called. I'd have to dig back through my watch history to see what it was. And but she's buying them like 4.19 a pound from Costco, buying 2 boxes. It's like $600. Like, man, it's crazy. Even if you're getting your meat affordably, it's still expensive. Matt says, "That's a good way to look at it, Charlie." And Andy says, "Charlie, how did the keto ice cream sit with you at the meetup?" Yeah, I'm curious to know that as well because he doesn't do a lot of sweeteners and such. Mm. So this week, we did a live. I did a live on Tuesday with Chandra like we normally do. And then Wednesday, I was live with Ayla Wells. And then Friday night, I was live with Sana and Cindy. And then yesterday, I was live with Caitlin. Today, I'm live with you guys. Tuesday, I will be live with me and Chandra. And then after that, I will be live with Russ over at Homesick Buckeye for his keto barbecue. I haven't been on that before, and I'm looking forward to it. So be sure if you are interested in any of those, go check them out if they're replays or come and watch me live this week. I appreciate it greatly. Um, done a lot this week. So I'm just curious to see what all of you guys have gotten into this week. What's going on with you guys? What do you got planned for the week coming up? It's summertime. It's hot. We're getting storms. Hopefully, it's a lot better of a week this week because we haven't been able to take the young one to the pool, and she hasn't been able to go outside too much. It's been either too hot or just not great weather. So Charlie says keto ice cream was good. Didn't really have any issues or cravings afterward. However, that same weekend I got in trouble with Pork and Good pork rinds. Kept going back to Walmart like Walmart like an addict. That's the thing is I'm so glad that they have them. At the same time, I'm like, why do they have them? Because I usually every time I'm there, I'm buying more of the sweet ones. I did buy a couple bags to eat on the way home the other day, which is I haven't had a thing to buy at the grocery that's kind of like a drive home snack in a long time. So I'm not quite sure how I feel about that. It's a kind of a new thing because before you had to order them online or go somewhere a distance to get them. Like we found them in Wisconsin and we found them in Ohio. We haven't really had them in stores here until now. So now it's kind of a new ball game to kind of see how they truly impact us. Brick says, Russ Keto Cookout, my regular YouTube channel. All right. I'm a little busy. Matt says, everybody share this channel. Let's get him to 5,000. I'm getting close. I'm getting close. I gained like 20 subscribers yesterday. I'm at 4931. So I'm getting close. Getting close. And Charlie says, for me, at least those pork rinds had absolutely no satiety signal. Yeah. I mean, they're just delicious. And I think the bags are kind of small, so you can't. By the time you take a couple of crunches, it's gone. I think your ears are burning. We were talking about you, Chris. We were talking about your treat meal video and how I have a response video that I've recorded, but I haven't had a chance to edit yet, and that'll be coming out hopefully tomorrow sometime. Let's see. Rick says his channel is close to 3,000. That's amazing. Let's go. I love it. Let's promote everybody. I love the idea that people can come in here and promote their channels and get followers and such. I love it. If you haven't seen it, if you put another noodle recipe out that looks really good, like it looks really good. And it doesn't seem so overly complicated that I wouldn't make it. Because I think that's kind of the disconnect sometimes with some of Chris's recipes. I'm like, I don't want to make that. It looks amazing, but I'm not going to make that. I'm kind of secretly waiting for someone else to make it and bring it to me. But yeah, that one actually looks pretty good. I need to see if I can make it. And I wonder, I've got like the big clear plastic like condiment bottles. I wonder if I could pipe, or if I could use that to squeeze out the stuff. I don't know. Piping bags aren't that bad. Andy says her Niagara Falls video comes out tomorrow, so be sure to watch that when it comes out. Said it's actually easy, 15, 20 minutes max. Yeah, that's the downside too sometimes of a video, is the video you have to take longer to show people how to do it than it does to actually do. Like the other day, I like last Sunday after I did this live, I went and made myself some like truffle breakfast sandwiches, and I've got like the 6x4 molds, so there's like 4-inch round molds, and there's 6 of them per thing. So I made I cracked an egg in each one, cheese on top, and then in another one, the other mold that I have, I put the sausages in, tossed them in the oven, and those cook for like 15, 20 minutes. And in the time that it took me to do that, I whipped up the chaffle batter, and I have 2 chaffle makers running in tandem, and and no matter what I do, it always seems to come out to exactly 12 chaffles. I tried a new recipe. I'm going to maybe try another one again. We'll see how it comes out this time. I'm going to tweak it a little bit before I make a video on it, but I really liked, they had a good texture on the outside, and they were kind of really soft on the inside. Because I think a lot of times we'll make chaffles and they're just kind of like dry throughout. If you want a good solid texture to hold up to a sandwich, it's going to be kind of dry and kind of tough. And these were soft and I don't know, they were just really good. So we'll see if the tweak that I make makes them better, or I'll go back to the way I made them before. But yeah, I think they were good. But it took me the longest part was just, if I would have had the 4 chaffle things, it would have taken me 3 cycles, and I would have had them all done. Because it took me 6 cycles to get those done. versus if I would have had 3 cycles if I had the 4. But I mean, didn't take that long. I mean, really, I was basically by the time I pulled everything out of the oven, I only had a couple more, like just another like 4 or 6 chopples to make. So it wasn't bad. Then I had sandwiches. I had plenty of breakfast sandwiches to go. Andy is trying to get to 75 subs. Let's go. Let's get her there. John Gugahan, thank you so much for being here, sir. I truly appreciate you being here. Have a great day at church. Be safe, and we'll see you soon, buddy. Cindy DeManch is in the house. Good morning. Good morning, Cindy. Cindy, I really, really, you never cease to amaze me. Yesterday, I'm on the live with Caitlin, and if you haven't had a chance, like I said, to watch that live with Caitlin, go back and give it a watch. It's pretty compelling and a lot of interesting and heartfelt information in there. I think someone that gets to be 600 pounds is just so much going on that we just truly can't understand. And I think it's so very valuable to have someone like that speak candidly and openly and honestly. And it was just and some of the things we learned was just kind of devastating as well. But Cindy's like, hey, we're going to be in New Hampshire. That's not far from you. Maybe we can get together. Cindy, you're one of the best people on this planet. And I truly I can't, I can't express that enough. And I give you a hard time and I poke fun at you and stuff, but I care about you. I care about you a lot. And I'm so glad that you're here and hanging out with us. Charlie, thank you for being here. I appreciate you. He's going to go do some racquetball, but finished Dustin's interview yesterday and the drive there. Have a good rest of the day. Thank you all. Thanks, Charlie. Sigma Carnivoris. I don't even know how to pronounce that. I'm doing the best I can here. You're welcome, dear. Glad to see all of you coming in here and hanging out with me. Got my coffee. Cindy, where's your coffee, huh? Where's your coffee, Cindy? Mm. Coffee. Delicious. Chris says, if people truly knew what extreme obesity does to people and what really causes it, they would have much more empathy, I think. Thank you, Cindy, for the platform for her to speak. Yeah, and her coming to give her the opportunity to speak as well. That's amazing. Yeah, I mean, that's what that's just, it's one of the weird things. Like when I was at my biggest, I felt like I was on display to a degree, but invisible. Like people didn't see me, they saw me. And I know that's kind of a weird concept to kind of grasp. And I don't even know if I realized it then. But I mean, there is a certain loneliness to it. Um, you start to withdraw. I mean, obviously, a lot of us, no matter how big we may have been, we withdrew from being in family photos. We hid from cameras. We didn't want to interact. We were maybe not as energetic as we should have been. We didn't go and do things. I mean, it puts a hindrance on vacations. It puts a hindrance, like, when you're that big, there's a lot of things you can't do. And I know that there's a growing movement that I've been seeing online where people are blaming the experiences or the attractions, the destinations for not providing adequate services for people who are large. And I addressed that too in the video that I put out last week. When I was big, I was terrified. I was too embarrassed to even ask for a seatbelt extender. Not once did I ask for it. Not once I've ever been in an airplane bathroom. I know that's just, I'm afraid of airplane bathrooms, I think. I don't know. I don't want to get up and I don't want to move around. I would just rather get locked in. And plus, once I got that seatbelt clicked, I wasn't going to try and do it again. That was such an anxiety inducing event every single time. So at least I would try to fly direct. I would try to fly no connecting flights, just try nonstop as much as I could. That way I knew one time there, click, one time there, back, click. And then I would be, once I got it clicked, I could breathe a little easier, even though it was like, by the time I got there, like, was in pain. But there's just so much that people don't understand about when you're large. And the fact that I think now people want those accommodations. I was afraid to get kicked off the plane. And it's not fair to somebody who's, who's 150 pounds sitting next to me, who's got this much room left over in their seat, and I'm taking this much room of their seat. I'm encroaching into them. My arm is over there, my belly's hanging over. I'm just big, I'm just large and in charge, taking up their space that they pay the same amount or roughly the same amount as I did. And then people get mad, well, it's I shouldn't have to pay for two seats. And I get both sides of the argument. I think one of the things that Shannon and I talk about is women's clothes for large people. They make some of the ugliest clothes for plus size women almost on purpose. And I don't know if this is really the channel for this discussion. I mean, me being a guy, but Shannon and I talk about this because, she does the reselling of women's clothes, and we talk about this, and I just know, like, the materials they use, the prints they use, the cuts they use. It's almost like they probably don't care, but they're just making whatever they can to sell to women. And they know that there's really only a few places they can shop to find work clothes, like dress clothes and such, that are a certain size. But I mean, now there's places like Torrid that are kind of coming out and making more fashion forward clothing for women of size. And I mean, it's just like when I was dealing with all this, I had Kmart, plain t-shirts, you know, cargo pants, just plain cargo pants. I dressed the same all the, I mean, I realistically, I mean, I'm more comfortable in a pair of Dickies and a plain t-shirt than I am anything else. Just a plain black pair of Dickies, maybe some cargo pant, Dickies, black t-shirt, black shoes. That's where I feel comfortable. If it's cold, a hoodie, I would wear a hoodie all the time. That's just me. So I mean, I don't care how rich I ever get, I'm probably gonna still dress the same. But then I had more issues trying to find more clothes, because when you work at a place and you want to look different and all that stuff. There's just a lot of things in the way. And people talk about like going and like, when you're 400 pounds, you can't ride a horse. You can't go on like a horse riding trip. I remember going and being big and getting into a canoe with my buddy, and we had to switch sides of the canoe I was on because it wouldn't work. We went, and luckily we the canoe trip we went on, the river was high. Otherwise, it would have been a nightmare for me in and out of the boat because it wouldn't have been enough water. Just weird things like that. Big Belly Bob in the house. Glad you're stopping by, sir. Enjoy your walk. Big Belly Bob is going walking. He's going walking until he loses 30 pounds. So if you haven't, go subscribe to his channel, help him out. Sean says, I'm making it a point to take more pictures and share more experiences because of how we used to hide from the camera and social media. Right? And that's something that I try to do as well. I mean, obviously, I'm in front of a camera multiple times a week. I'm not always in photos. I did take some photos for Keto Chow a couple weeks ago. I had to have some photos for a project for Keto Chow, and that was I had to have a friend of mine, a photographer friend, help me out, and it was just one of those things. Like, it was such a weird experience for me, and I'll probably have to do it a few more times to get comfortable doing that. So, and Chris is same here. I was far too embarrassed as well. I would have cut off all the circulation to my body before asking for a seatbelt extender. Because my thought was, if I ask for a seatbelt extender, they're going to kick me off this plane. I was terrified. And going to the bathroom on a plane is really tough as well. Yeah, I've never ever done that before. It's just one of those things. Like, so many things that are embarrassing, and like, and now I understand that people are trying to kind of fight back, and they're trying to say, well, we deserve to have these experiences too. And I understand, and I keep getting sidetracked, but I understand that the idea that, people of size do deserve, they're people, they deserve to be treated fairly. But there is something in the way of physics. I mean, like, you can't go riding a horse because horses are gonna be like, "Poof, get off me." You know, there's certain things like different kinds of, like hiking and climbing and things where it's just not going to work very well. I just think, we have to be understanding as well. Even as a bigger person, I always knew there was things I couldn't do. And, like, even like with Disney, I think there was one ride, I think, just Tron. I couldn't ride Tron the way it was designed. Tron, you get in and you kind of lay down and you look up and you kind of hold like a motorcycle, kind of like a crotch rocket. But they had put on some of the trains in the back sitting up seats so you could sit up. I had to do that because there was no way I was going to, even with all the weight that I have lost, I wasn't going to fit in that thing. Like, my calves are big, and you know all that. And Matt says it's an important part of the journey, documentation. I unfortunately behind the camera, so there isn't as many pictures of me. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way even now. And Cindy says, when I was 300 pounds, I didn't want to do anything. I still feel so bad for my two boys that I wasn't the most fun mom for them. They always went out to play, and thank God they had each other. Oh, yeah. Evelyn says, I agree. The ugly clothes for plus sizes. Yeah, it just seems like I don't know what it is. It's almost like it's on purpose. Like they're like, let's watch them wear this. I don't know. Matt's asking Chris what's on the menu this week for Tuesday. Chris says that we used to buy furniture based on weight limits for sure. Yeah, want to buy sturdy furniture. You don't want to buy like we bought so many, like we bought couches and they just fall apart. I mean, they don't make them like they used to. Like, I remember we bought couches when I was a kid at like Montgomery Ward from the mall. We bought furniture and that stuff lasted until like my grandma had to move out and move in with my aunt. That couch, I think we had to put some new supports underneath it, but I mean, that couch was like 30 years old. I'm sure we got that couch when I was like 13. Sean says a hoodie is my winter jacket. I do that just because I don't have to take a hoodie off when going through security at work. Oh, that's good. And Chris isn't sure what they're having yet this Tuesday. Let's see. Cindy says, I always bought clothes that would hide my weight, or so I thought. Looking at a few pictures now, there's nothing that would successfully hide that. Now I just try to do the same thing. Thank you, Andy. All right, Sean, let's go. Um, so it's just the things that I think about, the things that I mean that are important for us to talk about. Those of us who got to, an extreme size. And I know that there's a body positivity movement going on. And I worry about that because I think we should all be included. We should all be loved. Nobody should be shamed for the size that they are. But I think the detriment to the body positivity movement is when people in the movement that are very body positive forward and larger start to do something and change and lose weight, they get so much hate. I mean, it's devastating. How dare you? You don't care. Now you're fat phobic and all these things. And I don't understand that. I don't understand the fact that how we can look at something and I imagine it's more trolls than anything and not people who are of a size, or people that are of a size that aren't ready to make a change and haven't got to that breaking point where they need to make a change. And it's disappointing, it's devastating because I know where I was, and for a long time I'm like, I'm going to eat what I want. I don't care. I'm going to eat as much as I want. I'm going to do whatever I want. That's where I was. But it took a breaking point for me to decide I'm going to do something about it. So, yeah. I think body positivity as a movement on certain aspects of it are very powerful. We shouldn't discriminate against someone against their size. We should treat everybody as their the worth they have, that they are somebody important to us. There are people in our society. We should all be treating everybody with love, courtesy, and respect. It doesn't matter what they look like, what size they are, if they're too skinny. I know that people who are too skinny get a lot of hate too. But being too skinny is just as dangerous sometimes as being too large. Probably even more so because it's more of an urgent thing. But I think we need to be more careful with the words that we choose and how we treat people. But I also think in the body positivity movement, stands to be some room for encouragement that it's okay to lose weight if you want to. If you've got a point where you need to lose weight, it's okay. I just don't want to see the body positivity movement continue being something that supports something that's likely dangerous, because that's sad as well. We see a lot of body positivity. It's a mouthful sometimes. We see a lot of we see a lot of body positivity people dying, and then people just laugh it off. And that's scary too. So, Stacy's in the house. Good morning, sweet people. James and Lisa are here with us from Kokomo. Had a great evening with Evelyn and Carl last night. Well, that's wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that. Chris says there should be a value positivity movement with a realistic understanding of what body shape indicates about our health. And even I want to say, I can't remember, it was at I think it was at Low Carb for Better Health last year. I want to say Dr. Eric Westman talked about a patient who was like 600 pounds, but had the metabolic health of someone who was like 150 pounds. He said it was astonishing. Like the insulin, it was no insulin resistance, nothing. It was just he didn't understand it. So we're still learning things. Is it possible to be big and healthy? I would say there's exceptions to the rule of no, because our body isn't packing on extra weight for no reason. There's usually something mechanically wrong, or with what's going on with our body. Our body's not handling things correctly. And I think even now we're getting to word like where people are getting upset by the word obese, morbidly obese. They're looking at it as like fat phobic and derogatory. And I'm thinking we have to have something to identify things as. So I kind of fear for where we're going, because it's not going to be a pretty place. And Chris says, yeah, the trolls are exhausting. I've been called fat 100 more times online since losing 130 pounds than I ever have at my biggest. That's the thing, is like people look at your, because the video alive is just a snapshot in time. I don't know why my nose runs on Sundays. But it's a snapshot in time. It's where you are right now. And where you are right now is where it's going to show for all the time. Never going to change. So someone can go back and look at an early video where you hadn't lost 100 pounds and go, why are you fat? Well, have you seen newer videos? I mean, and obviously people don't. And there's just going to be people who are just nasty. Negativity breeds like cancer. It truly does. And you can see it in social media posts. You can have some people that on your feed that are the most positive people, and you can see something happen, and then you can start to see that negativity kind of like start to bleed into their daily life. And a lot of times they'll turn that around, but sometimes they don't for a while. Then you can just see the negativity grow and fester. And there's not a lot you can do. There's not a lot you can say Just be supportive. Be there. Matt says, let's see, the trolls will find anything they can to complain about. Sarah has gotten a few troll comments on her videos. It only get worse as their channel grows. Yeah, I'm a big proponent of going in and putting in certain words that block so you don't even see. I mean, I don't have a lot of words that are blocked, but I just kind of go through and just update them every once in a while. I think that's an important thing to do. And Chris is like, yeah, that's the way it goes. It means you're doing something right. Yeah, you're getting it. You're getting the attention. You're getting, you're getting views. You're getting people out there who are watching what you're doing. And if you're upsetting people, they're probably going to be mad about it. And Sean says, human decency goes a long way. If more people would treat each other with respect that everyone deserves, it would be a big improvement. Yeah, I kind of think like if we could treat people online the way most people treat each other in person, because most people are going to treat people in person far better than they'll ever treat them online. People will say things to you online that they would never say to your face. And I think we could. There's and I mean, there's an anonymity to the internet, then and there's trolls and there's people who just kind of come out here to say the worst things just so they can say them. You know, Evelyn, fat level 1, 2, etc. I don't know. We just can't be so upset by terminology. We just can't get upset by, like, if you're a certain height and you're a certain weight. I mean, I understand BMI is not the end all be all and shouldn't be what we really realistically gauge things by. But I mean, we need to know, like, if you're 6 foot and 700 pounds, there's a problem. If you're 6 foot and 400 pounds, there's a problem. If you're 6 foot and 300 pounds, probably not that big of a problem. I mean, if you're 6 foot and 120 pounds, probably a problem. Brian says that I get upset when people say it's not about weight loss. A 38-inch waist and 260 pounds at 5'11" is not healthy. Blood pressure is higher because of the weight. It's about weight loss for you. Yes. And I think that message gets misconstrued because keto and this lifestyle, I got here because of weight loss. Weight loss is still on the agenda. But if it was weight loss only, the only reason that I was here, I probably would have failed a long time ago. So I think when we're talking about it's not about the weight loss, it's what keeps you staying and doing what you do. You mentioned the heartburn. For me, it's heartburn, allergies, the brain fog is gone, I have energy. I'm almost always in a constantly good mood. I'm never upset really unless something really kind of crappy happens, but then it's just maybe a couple of hours, then I'm usually back. But I think most of us got here because of the weight loss. We were on a weight loss journey, found this way of eating, this lifestyle, and we found other reasons to stay. Reasons that are far more compelling than the scale. So I think we have to look at it that way, because if it was just the scale, I would have given up a long time ago. And I truly believe that. But the heartburn, the allergies, the brain fog being gone, just being able, just to feel like I'm alive. That goes a much, much further than even my blood pressure is relatively normal. My biomarkers are good. It's just one of those things, I think that, yeah, yeah. So I think, understanding somebody's why, like my why I started and why I stay, are two different things. And I think that's kind of the important thing, at least is how I take when somebody goes, it's not about the weight loss. Because yes, the weight is important, but weight isn't the always the biggest issue. what's causing the weight is typically the biggest issue. So if you can alleviate the issues that are causing you to hold on to that weight, then the weight will kind of take care of itself. So the weight is a physical manifestation of something wrong, but it's not always, but the weight is not the cause. The weight isn't the root cause of the problem. The weight is just a symptom of the root cause. So, I mean, that's just kind of how I look at it. That's why to me, weight isn't the most important. Figuring everything else out to get the weight off is the biggest thing that I can think of. Yeah, even the bad comments of I'm always like, well, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Respond to as many comments as I can. And Cindy goes, the first few not so nice comments I got deleted and blocked, and the last ones I left there. Thank them for watching, wanting to go, waiting on you, Chris Cooking Nashville, to comment to them. Let's see. Evelyn, a little kindergartner at school came up and tapped my belly and asked when my baby was due. I told her I was fat, not pregnant. She said my mommy says fat's a bad word. I told her I'd rather be fat. I mean, kids are so adorable. Even our granddaughter will be like, "Pa, you gotta eat strawberries. I don't want you to be fat." Because kids, the things you tell kids, like you gotta eat your fruits, your vegetables, and you gotta be healthy, and then they turn right back and throw it in your face. You know. And then pregnant. Yeah, I mean, pregnant at this age, I'm so glad we don't have little ones. We have a little one that we can send home. Don't get me going on. I'm about to be a circus. Cindy, be nice. Caitlin doesn't have a YouTube channel yet. She's on both TikTok as well as Instagram. And her Instagram and TikTok are $5.99 period. I think if you just put in $5.99 period, it should come up. I think it's $5.99 to damn she fine or something like that. But she doesn't have a YouTube channel as of yet. She should be starting one sometime. She's just a little reluctant and doesn't know how to do it. Brian says, well, figuring out how to get the weight off isn't working for me. Shander too. So, I mean, you're definitely not alone in this. Have you gone and had a full, I don't know if we've talked about this. Have you gone and had a full thyroid panel done? Like with the, I'm trying to think what it's called. Somebody in the chat will tell me. On your labs, I think is what it's called. Yeah. Uncle Big Guy doesn't even have that. Okay. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I know that the Keto Road has been helping Neely. I don't know, maybe reach out to someone like him. I don't know what he charges. All that stuff. I honestly don't know. But someone who's kind of well versed in that kind of stuff, maybe. Yeah. Yeah, it's good that they ruled out a lot of the bad stuff. Yeah. So what has everybody's got going on this week? I need to know what's going on. What's the happenings? I don't know what I've got going on. I need to look at my calendar and see what's going on. Stacy, are you guys all watching still? Is Lisa and James with you still? I can't remember. I don't know if they had added me to their list of their meetup out in Columbus. I don't know. I don't know if I'm one of the people they have on their list or not. because I still don't know if I'm going to be able to go. Probably not. But I just wanted to make sure that they were aware of that. Didn't have me on a list. Maybe make room for somebody else that would want to go for sure. I wish I could go, but I just don't think it's going to be in the cards for me. But yeah, I understand that because he's thinking about a coach, but the money is that overly abundant right now. Yeah, I was just wondering why he's not here. Let me text him. I sent him a text. We'll see if he may not be awake. Maybe he slept in or something, or he's out working on his pool path or something. Let's see. We have nothing this weekend other than 2 nights of bowling, and Max has a vet appointment. Okay. And he says, "Really, Evelyn? You can stop by on your way home." Look at that. Chris says, "Show tonight, Monday live stream tomorrow, Tuesday cooking live stream, Wednesday keto mocktail with salty and health vlog, steaks with special toppings on the grill for Saturday vid, busy week." Yeah. Yeah. So I'm curious, Chris, what's your take on, as I saw somebody the other day and I can't remember what his name was, like Wheeler Walker Jr. or something like that. He was talking about how he doesn't want Post Malone making country music, but then like some of the stuff that he would say in his music is not something that I would necessarily agree with. But I like Post Malone, and I mean, I may not necessarily care for the country that he's doing. I think it's important that he's doing it. I like his cover. One of the covers he did, I liked it a lot. Uh, Maybe it might have been I can't remember what cover it was. I can't think of it right now, but it was a cool song. But I really like Post Malone. I think he's a fun guy. Just curious to think what you think about someone like Post Malone coming into country. Do you think that that is a benefit or a detriment to the genre? Because I like old country. I like the old, more rock style country than the new poppy style stuff. That down and dirty country music. I miss that stuff. Cindy's got a live stream Friday with Wendy and Harry. Yeah. I wouldn't have missed it. If I can come on, I'll be there. Anytime you need me, if I'm available, I will come on. I'm glad. I'm glad. Sometimes Cindy texts me and I'm like in the middle of doing stuff. I'm like, well, I'm out. I'm at Costco and I've got to go to Sam's Club, or I'm leaving Sam's, or I'm at the grocery store and I've got to do this, or post office. And Fridays are busy for me a lot of the times just because I'm getting everything ready for Shannon to go to work. But I saw this band on Thursday night. I saw a band. Now the band name is one that would probably most of you would be like, I'm not listening to that. I saw this band called Tomb Mold. Seemed like a tomb, Tomb, and mold. And they're a band from Canada. And some friends of mine, like two friends band, like some friends of mine, their bands opened up, and they're really good bands. One's a band called Obscene, and the other one's called Ritual. And they're very heavy bands, very heavy, death metal type bands. And so is Tomb Mold. But if you would see the guys from Tomb Mold away from the stage and away from the music they were playing, you would not think they were in a death metal band. You would think that they were like the ultra nerdy camp counselors at some weird camp. Danny's like, "What?" I'm like, "Sunday Live." He forgot. He forgot about me. But I enjoyed them greatly, and they were a lot of fun. I just love music. You know what? I have a boss, and I have to listen to that boss. And sometimes my boss is this tall, and sometimes the boss is this tall. But I have to listen to my bosses. And Jeff is back from a 4-mile walk with the pupper. All right. Sean says, I started liking Post Malone when he did the song with Ozzy. And then I found out he likes Magic the Gathering. Man, he is a weird cat for sure. He is a weird cat for sure. I love how people were like, it's really nice of Posty to, bring along somebody new like Ozzy. Ozzy just has an iconic vocal that you just, and so Posty has a great vocal too. When the new Taylor Swift album dropped, all 30 tracks of it, I was playing it for the granddaughter because she loves Taylor Swift. And the first track on the album is called Fortnite. As in 2 weeks. And it's got Post Malone on it. And if it didn't say that it had Post Malone on it, I never would have realized that was Post Malone. It was such a backseat vocal for him that I was like, why did he even agree to do this? But, I don't know. I'm trying to think who I get to see. I've got more people, I've got some shows coming up. I can't remember when they are. Let me look at my calendars. Let's see. Where am I at here? I think I just did the thing in July. Maybe August I have something coming up. Let's see. We got the State Fair meetup. How many of you are thinking about coming to the State Fair meetup if you're available? So the State Fair is Tuesday the 6th at noon. $2 Tuesday. Come hang out with us. I know it's Indiana and it's probably a drive for a lot of you, but it'd be cool for those of you who can come out. Then my brother's birthday is in August. Chandler's and I's anniversary is in August. I don't think I have anything in August. What's in September? Oh, yeah. I got a show in September to go to. Super excited for that. We got a Wisconsin wedding in September. And then October, we got Keto Palooza. Let's see. Jeff was listening the whole time. I was not. The first, I don't know, we listened like the first 10 tracks of the album. It was all mid to me. Like it didn't have the same catchiness that our other stuff does. Even the granddaughter was like, can we listen to something else? And she's a huge Wifty. The song Fortnite and the video game, they're different. They're different. Uncle Big Guy says, good thing happened. I ran to another carnivore this week by looking at her plate and saw Philly steak with no bread or sides. Delicious. I think about that all the time. I just love something about steak, onions, and like provolone and that kind of cheese. Sometimes even just the whiz, the yellow whiz cheese. Yeah, delicious. Yeah, the video game. I don't know. When kids played it, I never did. I don't play video games. I used to in my youth when I was a Ute. Cindy is a jerk because she can't make it. Let's see. Andy says she might do the fair. Susan is working, so it'll just be me, not positive. Hey, if you can, you can. We'll be there hanging out. Evelyn says she can't. It's my daughter's birthday. That's why we were doing it during the week before the 18th. It's weird how that works out. Or whatever, before you started school. That was the whole reason to try to do it. Whoo. Ken is in the house. Oh, yeah. It's 9 a.m., 30 minutes till our friends go live. And they do go live today at 9:30. They do go live, and it's somebody's birthday celebrations. So be sure to tune in to Autumn and Richard and their live today. Very important. At 9:30. Evelyn, I know, I'm sorry. Is anybody going to the Hoosier Carnival picnic on the 4th? I don't know if I'm going to be able to go or not. Everything's always up in the air with me, you know. Yeah. I would like to. I love coffee. If you love coffee, hit the like button, hit the thumbs up button, share this video out, do all that if you love coffee. Cindy, even if you don't like coffee, do those things anyway. If you're watching on Twitter, let me know. So Chris said the dog is fed, kitchen is clean, finally sitting down to enjoy the coffee and listen closer. I was asking Chris, what are your thoughts about Post Malone being involved in country? And he's got a country album either coming out, I think it comes out in August. Say interesting things, Dustin. I'm paying attention now. So yeah, I was curious of your thoughts on Post Malone and how he impacts country, because I saw, I think Morgan Wallen, not somebody junior, the other day posted a video about how they don't want Post Malone in country music, and I was just curious how that whole thing kind of sits with you, because I think, I mean, and I don't really, this person, I think they had some things to say in some of their content and their stuff I was not very thrilled with, but see if I can look up who that was. I think it's Walker Wheeler Jr. Oh, he's a comedian, so he's not really a real country singer. I think he made a song called Post Malone, You Suck. But I wasn't sure if he was serious or not. So Chris says Post is a smart businessman and he's weird, but you can't deny the brilliance in how many people he works with. And not a huge fan, but I don't mind him either. He's a smart dude. I think whenever he puts his mind to do something cool, he's going to do something cool. I like Jelly Roll as a person. I don't really know much about his music, but I like him as a person. Like, I've listened to him on Rogan, and he's been on other live streams or podcasts that I've listened to. He's had a lot of problems. He's not too far different from a lot of us. Hopefully he gets a lot of his health things under control, because I think he's a bigger guy, and I imagine health things are going to start to creep up on him. So hopefully that kind of gets taken care of, and maybe him being in the Rogan sphere will help kind of get that sped up a little bit, because Sean's talking about Jelly Roll crossing over, pave the way. Yeah. Some are just jealous Post is getting the attention. So Walker Wheeler does the joke songs, but he doesn't. Okay. So I like the real down and dirty country. Like, Posty did a cover. I can't remember. I got to look it up and see what it is. Obviously can't play it here. The Sturgill Simpson song that he did. Um, you can't have the crown or whatever. Just that I love that style of country. That stuff like, and I love the old country that I grew up with with my mom, like um Hank Williams Jr., Oak Ridge Boys, Alabama. You know, if you're gonna live in Texas, if you're gonna play in Texas, you gotta have a fiddle in the band. I love that stuff, you know. And Jelly Roll's so Chris says Jelly Roll is also smart, much bigger fan of him. He's a huge dude and he's working on it, losing weight, I believe. I hope so. That's what I want. I want you guys to be on stage with Jelly Roll and Post Malone. I mean, there's selfish reasons behind that because I want to meet them too. I want to hang out with Post Malone, and I just want to hang out with Jelly Roll, and I think that'd be a lot of fun. Um, you know, let's see. Chris says Post isn't afraid to share a song with people from any style, no matter how successful they are or hard they go. That's why he's brilliant, and he's young. He like when he was on Rogan the first time, and he was 24. Just a young cat, just doing amazing things. Yeah, and Jeff is right. It's like carnivore people, like carnivores being mean to other PhD. There's no reason for it. There's no one way to live this life. There just isn't. And I know that we as humans are all humans and we can probably all survive. We'll all be better off with a proper human diet. But what that looks like to each individual is going to be slightly different. Like we know some people have a lot more trigger foods than others. You know, there are people who just can only eat meat and salt. Some people can eat chicken and be fine and have bacon, and some people can't have bacon. You know, we have people with peanut allergies, and people can grow out of those, which is weird. I didn't know you could do. Just a lot of stuff like that. I want to see people succeed, and I want to see people bringing people along with that success. I want to see like that's what I love, and I know people like to hate on Joe Rogan and stuff, but Rogan brings his friends, all of them. He paves the way. Like he opened that club in Austin, and he's like, I don't want to make money at this club. I want the club to break even, and he's doing so well. He's like talking about opening a theater and a second club in Austin. He just wants to. He wants comedy to thrive. And I love that. And that's what I want to do here. I want this community to thrive. I don't care how big I get. I don't care. I'm going to do the best I can with what I have for as long as I can. And, you know. Chris says successful artists are like cartoon characters. They're larger than life and some stand way out. Yeah. There are a lot of carnivores that need to get their attitude seriously in check. They love to complain in my videos. That's not really carnivore, Chris. Man, people drive me bananas. It's like, are we in this to make people healthy? Or are we in this to be right? That's the question. Are we in this to make as many people healthy? Or are we in this to prove a point? Or whatever people are trying to do. You know, I'm a carnivore and I'm better than you. Or whatever the case is. There's no reason for that. There's no reason. I've seen and heard different things coming out of different spaces that people come into different channels for help and getting kind of shunned and like kind of laughed out of the. There's no reason for that. There is absolutely no reason for any of it, and I won't stand for it. I don't ever want that to happen in any of my live streams, on my videos. I don't want any of that. I don't care if you come here and I'm only going to eat donuts every day. Well, good luck. I'm not going to tell you that you're stupid. I'm not going to tell you that you're an idiot. That's not my place. My place is to lead by example. My place is to share with you what I'm doing. My place is to have a forum for people to come together and discuss and talk about what's working, what's not working for them. Never do I want to see that kind of thing in my videos because there's no room for it. That doesn't make anybody better. No one's ever been shamed in doing better. They may do it on the surface while you're looking, but that doesn't make them better. That doesn't fix the problem. No one's ever screamed at me in my face and changed my mind. It doesn't work. I'm here for the long game. You come by, watch a video, this isn't right for you yet. You come back a few months later, watch another couple videos. Maybe it's getting closer to being right for you. I'm going to do everything in my power to be here as long as I can because I know that the long game and being supportive of everybody and whatever they're trying to do for themselves is going to win out over being dogmatic and just being a jerk. There's no room for it. That makes me crazy. There should be commercials or no, let's see, there should be no camaraderie within the PhD community. I was allergic to milk growing up. I wanted to make up for it when I grew out of it. I guess that's why dairy is a big trigger for me. Yeah. And that's the thing is we figure out along the way what works and what doesn't work. And sometimes in the beginning of a journey, like for me in the beginning of my journey, I talk about it very openly about how I utilize the bulletproof coffee. People talk so much trash about putting butter and coconut oil in your coffee or whatever. Now, you don't need that, blah, blah. It helped me. I'm truly, I truly believe that if it wasn't for having a gigantic bulletproof coffee every day for about 2 years, helping me relearn what satiety means, I probably wouldn't be sitting here right now. So I will see, I see, big people, big creators and such posting content like that on their pages, and I go and I share my story. I'm not telling anybody they're wrong, but I tell them how it benefited me. Now, do I still utilize it? No. Sometimes if I know I'm going to need a lot of brain power that day, I may go and pull out some of the old coconut oil and put some of my coffee and blend it up. If I'm going to be learning something really new or whatever, and I need that, sure, why not? It's a tool. But do I drink it every day? No. Do I drink it once a month? No. Did I drink it every day for 2 years? 1,100 calories, 165 grams of fat? You bet I did. Now, did I know what I know now then? Hell no. I didn't know that I was relearning satiety with it. I just knew that that was the thing you did when you're keto. You drink bulletproof coffee. That's how you lose weight. That's what they told me. Now, did I lose weight? Yes. But I think I learned a lot more about myself with it than anything else. And I don't take that for granted. And I will always share that. I will always share that information because that meant something to me. And I'm not going to fall in line with, well, now that's not the best thing to do. It might be for somebody. If somebody's satiety signaling is so out of whack, they don't know what to do. They don't know what full means. But they don't know what satiated means. Maybe it might help them. Maybe it might not. But that's just kind of where I'm at. And Chris says, man, you ain't wrong. I love pointing out how they care about their ego over trying to help and save sick and dying world. It'll just be shameful. Yeah, I think they can't see the forest for the trees. People get into this to get better and get healthy, and they start to find that for themselves. And then I understand the mechanism behind it because you want to scream from the rooftops that you found the way. This is the way, but we're not Mandalorians. There's more than one way. Just because that worked for you doesn't mean it's going to work for everybody else. And just because it worked for you doesn't give you the right to shame others into making it work for them too. And that just it just gets under my skin so bad. Whoo. We're all in this to be healthy or to be right. That's exactly right, Evelyn. Are we in this to be healthy or are we in this to be right? I've never stopped learning things. And what I do today may not be what I do tomorrow. Don't know. And he says, I'm doing what my body is telling me, be it low carb, keto, carnivore for any amount of time. That's the thing is we have to listen to ourselves. We get information from a whole host of people. We get information from everybody we watch. And we take that information and we take a piece here and a piece here and a piece here, and we see what we can do to rebuild ourselves. I don't think there is a single creator out there that has all of the answers for you as an individual. Maybe Dr. Barry, but he's not focused on one thing. He's kind of a holistic approach of the proper human diet. Now, is he more meat leaning? Yes. But is he gonna advocate that every single person only does that? I haven't seen that. Doesn't mean he doesn't. Even Sean Baker, Mr. Carnivore himself, is like, I don't think carnivore's right for everybody. And that's a huge takeaway we should all be listening to. And I'm sure there's carnivore people out there going, oh, I can't believe you'd say that. Oh, that's so terrible. No, there's no place for that. Cindy, go have a donut if you want one. I ain't going to make you do nothing. Sean says, because everyone is so different metabolically, no one is ever completely right or wrong. What's right for you? Yeah, that's 100%. And Chris says, I like to tell those kinds of carnivores all may be created equal, but you don't have to choose to remain that way, and you're making yourself worthless by acting this way. Yeah, I mean, you just seem disingenuous. I just think, there's more than one way to skin a cat. I think. I've never skinned a cat. I've thought about it a couple times. Sometimes they get on my nerves, and I tell them I'm going to make violin strings out of them, but they don't listen. They keep doing their whole cat thing. I don't know. But I don't know. We've got so much room to grow. There's no reason to be so dogmatic and just mean. And he says, I had a fillet of fish last night. It was so good, but it may be the last one for over a year. I just needed the taste, and now the craving is. Sometimes that's what you need, and that's like one of the things I talk about in the cheat day video I've got coming out. Like, I know every year we go to the fair. I know I'm going to have a corn dog or 5, maybe. I'm going to have a corn dog. I like corn dogs, but I know I don't buy them. I don't keep them in the house. And that's a win. I used to eat corn dogs all the time. 6 or 8 corn dogs. They come in a box of 12. I eat like most of the box. Now I don't. I have them like once a year. Sometimes we go have sushi. I don't think a meal here or there, if you are in a place where you have rediscovered food control and you have discovered what your triggers are and you've discovered on how to work through a lot of these issues that we've kind of grown into over time, I think there's a lot of room for that. I think there's a lot of room to make these decisions. We're all adults. I don't think going out and having a celebratory meal every once in a while is a bad thing. I think it's a human thing. It's a normal human thing to do. To tell me that our ancestors didn't celebrate with food, that they didn't have huge dances when they had a big kill and they had food for a couple of weeks, that they didn't celebrate? Get out of here. When we get to the whole idea like food is just fuel only, we shouldn't enjoy our food. Just eat it and go. You know what? No. Food shouldn't necessarily be entertainment and comfort, and we shouldn't turn to it for emotional support. But we should celebrate meals, celebrate getting together with our friends, our family, have a meal. That's human connection. Without it, what are we? I don't know. Ash just overheard me and said, "Preach it," and that's why we love you. Oh. Let's see. Coffee is coffee. 1 egg and pat of butter. I'm drinking it right now. I've tried the egg and coffee. It just wasn't creamy enough for me. I've tried 2 eggs in my coffee. I don't know. I like it. It's just not the same as heavy cream. And that's what I drink now, heavy cream in my coffee. Yeah, for sure. Tell Ash that we said hello. And I can't wait to meet you guys. Thanks, Cindy. I don't want that to be the main focus of my channel, but sometimes I think someone needs to, because ignoring it lets it feel more empowered and devalues others who have, who question themselves. Yeah, I think that's the thing is like, are you truly helping someone if you just demean them for asking questions? I see in so many of these groups, I'm in so many groups where somebody posts a new product and people just go to town on them. It's like, are you doing more harm than good? Like, like I was talking about with the Progresso tomato soup. Is it the cleanest thing in the world? No, but it's an order of magnitude more clean than Campbell's tomato soup. And if you have a can of that Progresso tomato soup every now and again with some wisps or something, you know what? Or some keto bread, and maybe make a grilled cheese out of it, is the world going to come to an end? Is it the cleanest? No and no. I just think we get so hung up on the minutia. I'm guilty. I'm guilty of this sometimes. I post things about ingredients, but I try to post things about ingredients that people may not think to look at. I try not to be a weirdo about it. Does that make sense? I mean, I'm a weirdo anyway, but I don't know. I don't know. Chris says, I'm always here for people struggling like I was. I was there too, and comments like that made me think I was stupid or incapable of healing. That's the thing is it doesn't improve the situation for anyone. Making someone doubt themselves or feel inadequate doesn't make them want to stick around. There's no reason for it. If we're truly trying to help each other, if we're truly trying to put our money where our mouth is and help society, help the community and beyond, there's no reason to be a jerk. And if ever I seem like I'm being a jerk, I hope all of you go, hey, dude, rein it in. I hope. Oh, let's see. Cindy hasn't had a donut in almost 4 years. The worst I've had is half of a fried dough at the Kentucky State Fair last year. I never much cared for donuts. They just always were messy because I had facial hair and like the stuff would get stuck caught in my beard and stuff, and I would just be like the glaze would just get stuck in, and I was like you couldn't try to brush it out. It wouldn't. It was just it drove me nuts. And unless I had a giant glass of milk, I don't care. It just needs balance. Let's see, balance and rarity, like it would have been ancestrally. Yeah, I mean, the idea that like you could never have cake again, or you could never have ice cream again, or just there's just I don't know. And I'm not trying to give people carte blanche to do what they want, but part of healing is figuring yourself out. What works, what doesn't work. We're going to stumble. We're going to fall down. But the most important piece is we get back up again. And that's what community is for. Help us get back up again. Help us to keep going. Because we're going to have bad days. We're going to have off days. We're going to have things that just aren't where they need to be. And that's what all of you guys are for, support. Not to tell me I'm stupid. That doesn't do anybody any good. But anyway, let's see. Sean says, even Dr. Barry has a piece of cake on your birthday. Isn't bad. No. Now, if everybody, like, if you're in an office and every week there's cake, do I recommend having cake every week? No. And I didn't. I would always show up at the office whenever they were cutting the cake, because that was like a 10-minute period. I could be off the clock or not off the clock, but like I was getting paid. and just stand around and watch someone get a like because they would do cakes for everybody's anniversaries, and then they would do cakes for birthdays. It was like a cake almost every day, gigantic sheet cakes. And you would watch somebody, just watch them cut it, hang out, and then as people start taking their cakes away, just go back to my desk. There was a reason to get away from my desk, not to eat the cake. But if I was ever there long, like to have the cake for like an anniversary of mine or whatever, sure, would I have a piece of cake? Maybe. I don't know. It didn't always look like it was that great a cake, but you know. And Evelyn says celebrations are built around food and vice versa. We did 100% keto Thanksgiving last year. We invited people, but were strict. If they brought food, many people took food home and loved it. Yeah. Let's see. Someone told me using my carnivore bread because it's a replica physiologically defeats the point of carnivore diet. Like, what? That's the thing. Does it though? I mean, and for some people, it might have a negative mental impact on them, but that's not on you. You're providing a service, a tool for people who can utilize these things in a healthy manner and relearning how to nourish their bodies in a way that they may not have had before. May I see these replacement foods as a huge benefit in the beginning. As you go along, you may not need them anymore, and that's fine. When I first started keto, everything was a replica. We were making mashed potatoes out of cauliflower. We are trying to make fathead corn dogs and pizza and deep fried breaded things, and that's what we were doing because we wanted to catch up on all that stuff. We were missing out. But over time, those things have less and less value and less importance. You know, the real things. I mean, there's plenty of replacements. Sometimes I go to the store and I get a loaf of the keto bread and some bologna. I don't know. I just do. Sometimes I just want it. But I don't think it's bad for overall. And I said there's going to be outliers. There's outliers in every situation. There could be an outlier where them eating your carnivore bread throws them off all kinds of off the rails. But they have to figure that out and then figure out how to move forward from it. Let's see. 5 daughters, donuts are the best. Let's see, they were before keto. Goodness. Yeah, I remember we stopped at Voodoo Donut when we were in Colorado before. Super expensive donut place. And I think they have other places now, but they were like in Colorado, like one of the first places. They showed up on like diners, drive-ins, and dives and stuff like that, or those like those donut places you got to try and things like that. Just like when we were in Disney, we went to this place to get cookies, and we waited in line for like 45 minutes to get these cookies. They were worth it, but man, trying to get through these because we're coming to the end of time. We've got about 2.5 minutes left. Yeah, I knew what you meant, Chris. Physiologically, psychologically, there's a lot of things going on. You know, if carnivore is going to keep someone on path to better eating than hell with what other people think, yeah. Let's see. I know now when I have someone I used to absolutely love in the past, like White Castles taste horrible now. I still love White Castles from time to time. I don't know. There's just something about the gooey, cheesy. I don't know. There's just some. I don't know. It reminds me of my great grandma because we would go get White Castles when I was a kid. There's a lot of that goes along. Like, but yesterday I made some onion burgers with like I cut up a whole onion, had a pound of burger, whole onion, lot of pickles and some cheese. I made my own like kind of like White Castle in a bowl yesterday. It was amazing. But with that, I want to say thank you all for being here. You guys are all amazing. You haven't the slightest idea what you guys do for me. You're always here, uplifting me. I want to say thank you to everybody who supports us, comes in and hangs out with us, comments. Thank you all so much. You mean the world to me, like for real. Like as my grandmother would say, for real, real, for real, real. I love your faces. And Shannon and I will see you on Tuesday at 7 o'clock, our live, and then at 9 o'clock I'll be over with Russ on the Keto Cookout. Come and join us on one of those. And I love your faces. Wrong one.